My name is Rachel McKibbens. I'm a poet, I'm a mom, I'm an activist and hellraiser. I would describe my voice as being relatively unapologetic and full of interrogation. All of my books are really me coming to terms with a lot of trauma and with a lot of self-hate that I've carried throughout my life. I consider myself a recovering misogynist. I was raised by men, and specifically men who were in prison for a lot of their lives. I had a very skewed idea of what it meant to be, a daughter or a sister or a girl in the world. I think that a lot of my poetry is meant to elevate the stories that are uglier and to confront my own mistakes and truly bad ideas. Ultimately, a lot of it is, testimony. In the beginning, I didn't understand that what I was writing was necessarily any kind of activism, and it was through the amazing spoken word poet Daphne Gottlieb that I understood truly the concept of, the personal is political. Before, I just thought I was finally unleashing so much that I had suppressed in terms of like my story, my specific narrative that was completely enveloped in violence and lots of trauma, and my very specific experiences having to do with domestic violence, assault, specifically sexual assault, and lots of confusion around gender and the roles of women in society, or just personal, like in the house. Just when I began noticing all of the imbalance, it was very clear to me that I needed to make a little more noise in very specific topics of my writing, but I didn't really know how, so it was important to read a lot, to get educated, and to also understand that in naming something, you are not just sharing it with someone else, but you're kind of pulling it out of your body. But ultimately, I believe that my work intends to constantly try to amplify the voices of the oppressed, and also to kind of, throw some bricks through some windows, if you will. I think it's really essential for us to have our language be that kind of riot that incites not just thoughtful, speculation of topics, but demands that you actually do work, and it's not just in the writing, but you truly have to walk the walk in order to have change, and you can't just be spouting at the mouth constantly, or even writing about things that you would never dare, do in real life. And I think that that's a big thing. Like, activism through writing is very important, yes, but what are you doing? How are you backing up the text? For me, because I move my work through such brutal and traumatic territory, I have learned to buffer, to create this buffer with poetic device. It's really important to know the many uses of metaphor, allegory, simile. All of that helps you protect yourself via language from the actual moment you're trying to write about. It doesn't mean you can't make up a story and create it and have this amazing thing, but for the youth, I think it's really important to be given that outlet and to be told, look, I just want to know about you. I want to hear your story, and give it to me however you need to. And it doesn't have to be data. And I truly believe in that. I come from the school of Tim O'Brien, where it's like, I believe that the emotional truth is more factual than the data. So how can we tell a story? How how do I say my father's an alcoholic? I say when I was in 3rd grade, I wore prescription shot glasses so I could see things the way my father saw them. And that tells you a story, and that gives you an idea of what it was like to live in my small, tumultuous life without me having to say the words that could trigger me back into hell, and I think that it's just really important that we are able to receive and look at memory and find the story and how to give it and tell it the most honest, which often means, you can allow personification to step in or tell it in second person narrative. So again, you're creating more space and buffer for yourself. But you have to just fight for that voice to exist somehow. So if you're going to tell about, what a bed frame thinks, in the room of your childhood, speak from that.